to find a salvation solution, we need certain conditions in which it will be possible to do so. Thus, we need the creative society. If we decide to build the creative society, we either have to do it seriously or not do it at all. Either we address thoroughly to save our lives and act together until full completion, or we give up and surrender to the climate Cerberus. And if we decide to change the format of society, we need to change it to something reasonably good and beneficial for all people. Let us compare what we are changing it to. Right now, we are making progress at a rapid pace in developing technologies that are aimed at destroying humanity. But why not at saving lives instead? As long as there is a power of the few, they would only care about their own well-being and make laws that only benefit them. If the power was in the hands of all people and decisions were made by society itself, we would live perfectly well. Because people would never pass laws that make their lives worse or threaten them. The modern world is full of inflation and wars, and a single person is nothing and nobody in it. Together, we can change this for the luxurious conditions for a safe and fulfilling existence for everyone. This kind of conditions we must have simply because we are people. Instead of a world where no one means anything and the life of each of us is nothing, we can choose a world where the life of every person is the most precious thing. Today, you will hear a lot about the creative society and the perspectives it will give to you and to every person. Compare your life now with what the creative society can give you and your family, your loved ones, and your friends.
The creative society is a new format of the society for all of humanity that will peacefully lead our civilization to a new stage of evolutionary development where human life is the highest priority. In the creative society, power will belong to the people and not be concentrated in the hands of one person or a particular group of people, as is the case today, which leads to conflicts, wars, crises, and so on. Later, we will explain in detail how this can be achieved through peaceful and lawful means.
Participants of the Creative Society project are ordinary people, volunteers, united by the shared idea of building a better world for themselves and their children, the Creative Society. We are glad that foundation for the Creative Society has been already laid, as many people around the world are building it already, and many continue to join every day. But this is not enough, because there are 8 billion people on the planet. And our efforts are just not sufficient. We need everyone, because the Creative Society can only be built together. We must do everything possible to make everyone aware of the Creative Society so that we can leave the consumer format behind as soon as possible and start living in a wonderful life in the Creative Society, in a society that is based on the needs and dreams of each of us, in a society where by improving life for entire community, you improve your own life.
The ideology of the Creative Society project is based on the 8 pillars formed as a result of comprehensive analysis of the will of millions of people around the world. Over the past 12 years, volunteers and experts from more than 180 countries have conducted numerous social surveys and the most extensive analytical work in human history. As a result, the 8 pillars of the Creative Society was formed, whose primary goal is to protect and ensure the safety of human life.
Today, we will talk in great detail about how the Creative Society will change each person's life for the better and what prospects it will open up for all of civilization. First, let's look at what benefits the Creative Society guarantees to everyone.
Worldwide survey of the Creative Society project. What kind of society does every person dream of living in? Tens of millions of people surveyed in 180 countries, hundreds of thousands of hours of video footage, terabytes of data, more than 15 million hours of personal time of Creative Society project participants from around the world, all to show how people from around the world want to live. Only in the Creative Society, all people's desires for a comfortable, safe, and happy life will be guaranteed 100%. All of this is laid out in the 8 pillars of the Creative Society, which is the foundation of your happy future. Watch this video and you will understand why the Creative Society is exactly what you want. First pillar, human life. The highest value in the Creative Society will be human life, that is, your life, as well as the life of any other person. All of humanity will become a unified civilization, and this guarantees the absence of wars, various conflicts, and crises. You will finally gain confidence that you are truly protected. Second pillar, human freedom. In the Creative Society, you will be free and protected. No one will be able to violate your rights and freedoms. You are a citizen of the world, and you will be able to travel freely. And if you want, you will be able to easily change your place of residence. The Creative Society is true freedom and equality. In the Creative Society, there will be no need to fight for the rights of minorities because there will be no one superior or inferior. Everyone will have one highest status, the status of a human being. There can be no one and nothing on earth superior to a human, their freedom and rights. Third pillar, human safety. The Creative Society guarantees your safety. The economy of the Creative Society ensures the absence of crises and inflation for every person. You will be protected and have all the comforts of living. During the transition period to the Creative Society, you will be provided with free housing of a minimum of 60 square meters per person in private ownership, and you will not have to pay for utilities. Every home will be equipped with an FFG fuel-free generator that will provide you and your family with free and unlimited energy. Moreover, in that same transition period, every month you will receive a universal basic income equivalent to $10,000 as of today without having to pay any taxes. You will only need to decide how to spend your money. You might as well start thinking about this now. Do you think you will pay off all your debts first? But they will be written off. Do you think you will spend this money on healthcare or education? You will have the best education and healthcare free of charge, available to you 24/7. In the Creative Society, your safety will be the top priority, and all technologies will be directed towards improving your quality of life. Each household will be equipped with a matter replicator, providing you with your favorite clothing, food, and other necessary items. Thanks to the health capsule, you will forget about illnesses forever, and you will always be healthy. Isn't this what you've been dreaming of your whole life? But that's not all yet. Fourth pillar, transparency and openness of information for all. In In the creative society, the media will belong exclusively to the society. The media will serve the interests of the people and reflect information truthfully, openly, and honestly. Additionally, you will be able to receive accurate information about the movement and distribution of public funds at any time. Money owed by the public is, first and foremost, your money, and you should know how it is spent and for what purposes. Fifth pillar, the creative ideology. You will no longer have your mind manipulated, nor be frightened with imaginary enemies. We will not be pushed to confront each other and be divided into us versus them anymore, because in the creative society, any propaganda of violence, inhumanity, and segregation will be prohibited. The creative society will establish all the conditions for the development and education of a human with a capital H. Our children will be raised on the principles of humaneness, kindness, friendship, and mutual respect. These particular qualities will form the basis of relationships between people in the creative society. Sixth pillar, development of personality. In the creative society, you will be able to study wherever you want and train to become whatever you want, and it will all be absolutely free of charge. Education in the creative society will unlock your individual potential by 100%. You will be provided with a program specifically tailored to maximize your intellectual abilities. Any educational process will be interesting and engaging. You will have access to cutting-edge technologies in education and development. You can study anywhere in the world at any time that suits you. In the creative society, the world of knowledge is open for you. Seventh pillar, justice and equality. If you decide to work, you will be able to choose a profession that brings you joy. There will be a 4-day work week with a 4-hour workday. Moreover, you will have 2 fully paid vacations per year. Every job will have a decent compensation. The pay for identical positions, specialties, and professions will be the same worldwide. Furthermore, justice and equality will ensure that there will be no more private monopoly and irrational use of resources. All natural resources will belong to all people, including you. Eighth pillar, self-governing society. In the creative society, for the first time in human history, a unified, all-human civilization will be created. All power will belong to all people, to you. People know what they want and how they want to live. All socially important issues will be decided by people themselves on an open online platform. Specialists will be responsible for implementation of the tasks assigned to them. They will be appointed and controlled by people themselves. Since all processes will be transparent, corruption and dictatorship will be impossible in the creative society. In the creative society, you will decide for yourself how to live. For the first time in human history, your future will be in your hands. The 8 pillars of the creative society are formed from our desire to live as human beings. Everyone wants to live in a world without wars, without violence, without tyranny, without poverty, without inflation or any crisis, without absurd and total consumption. If you want peace, security, confidence, free and high-quality healthcare and education, freedom of movement around the world, a universal basic income, access to free energy, then the creative society will fulfill all your dreams. All of this can easily be achieved in the coming years. How to do this? Just tell this to as many people as possible, to everyone. Your dream world is separated from you by your neighbors and everyone around you who don't know about the creative society yet. Do you want the creative society to come as soon as possible? Act. Tell everyone about the creative society. For the first time in human history, your future is in your hands.
It's like a dream world. 3. Top-notch medical care guarantees excellent health. everyone is guaranteed free, high-quality housing and no utility bills. No more inflation or crisis. You will have a stable monthly basic income and all debts will be written off. That's it. You will no longer owe anyone anything. No more thinking about money all the time. That's financial freedom. In a creative society, you can finally see the world and travel freely. You can finally be able to take a deep breath and start living the way you always dreamed of. Only a mentally ill person would not want such a society.
Yes, Olga, I absolutely agree with you. Who wouldn't want that? And you just witnessed the incredible benefits guaranteed to every single person in the creative society. And of course, there are specific stages on the way to build this society, which we will dive into later. And naturally, we cannot just flip a switch and transition into a completely different society. There has to be transitional stages. But first, we will want to make sure that you guys know that even in the transitional period, most of the benefits will be guaranteed to all the people, to every single person on our planet. And yes, everything you heard about will be available to everyone.
Anyone who understands what the creative society is will want to live in it. Although we are all different, we all want the same thing: to live like humans, freely, peacefully, safely, and not worry about anything. That is what unites us. People always want to live well and in good conditions. So why don't we have all of these conditions yet? The answer to this question is very simple. People do not have all of these benefits because in the consumerist society in which we live, power is in the hands of a few instead of the hands of people.
Are you completely satisfied with conditions of your life? I know that most people would answer no. Do you know what that means? It means that you do not have power over your own life. It means that someone else has power over you. If the power were in your hands, would you increase your taxes or the prices of the goods you buy? Would you raise the prices of electricity, gas, and water? Would you condemn yourself to a lifetime of paying debts, insane bills for medical care, education, and so on? And finally, would you start a war in your country that would take your life and the lives of your loved ones? Of course not. Every normal person wants a stable, high-quality, peaceful life. And if they had the opportunity, they would build precisely such a life. But today, people do not have power, and therefore, we do not have a stable, desirable future. This situation continues from election to election. Power is always handed over to the few, and that is why only a few live well. That's how our consumer society is built.
Yes, agree. In the creative society, all power will belong to the people, including you. People know what they want and know how they want to live. People themselves will decide all important social issues on an open online platform. Responsible individuals for task completion will be selected and monitored by the people. All processes will be transparent, and no one will be able to make a decision for people. Instead of power for select few, society will be self-governed. The main principle of the creative society is that by improving life for the society as the whole, you improve your own life.
Yes, friends, our future is in our hands. There has never been anything like the creative society in human history. We have no experience of living in such a world, because in all social systems that have existed in our history, leaders have always kept the power for themselves, while in the creative society, people do not delegate authority to anyone, but make all the decisions themselves. That is called self-governance. What will it look like in practice? Let's take a look.
Life is like a chess. Pawns can only move forward and one at a time, and they're often sacrificed. Knight can move in an L shape and can cleverly outmaneuver the others, while the queen has the power to move around the board at will. We get used to the rules and obediently follow a single game. The same happens in society. We are offered several politicians to choose from. We think we choose. But we only vote for those who are offered. We give them complete power over our lives. We become pawns. Once politicians get power, they arrange wars and crises, sacrificing us, yet we support them by loudly repeating memorized slogans. Or we argue and support others, new politicians, empowering them this time. And everything repeats. We are persuaded that there are no viable models for the self-organization of society without authority. But isn't there such a model in fact? Or is it just that those who claim so do not know about it, or do not want to know about it? Yet, what if we change conditions, stop playing and begin to live? What will a world look like where people are in control of their own lives, self-organized, and truly free and conscious in their choices? Not just individual small groups, but all 8 billion people on the planet. There is such a model, and it is called the Creative Society. Let's see, how will it look like?
For several years, volunteers had been spreading information about a completely new format of society worldwide. And after that, people all over the planet held an international referendum at which the creative format of society was almost unanimously adopted. This led to significant changes both in relationship among people and on the planet as a whole. All artificially created crises and wars in the world have stopped. The problem of hunger has been resolved with a short period of time, since human life became the main value in the new format of society. The newest advanced technologies, which were inaccessible for people in the consumerist format, have started to be introduced everywhere. Everyone has been provided with a social package that includes a modern dwelling with an area of 60 square meters per person and an unconditional basic income equivalent to $10,000 per month. All basic needs of every person are fully met, but the main thing that each of us has gained is the right to be heard. We have transitioned to a completely new format of decision-making, self-governance. In the creative society, there are no presidents or parliaments anymore, not to mention dictators. There are only people, and every person's voice is equally important when decisions are being made.
Mom, do you decide everything now like the presidents did before?
There are no more presidents of any kind anymore, sweetheart. I'm human, just like you, and now there is no one above people, so people themselves decide everything.
Does it mean that you can change anything in the world?
Well, not really. My opinion is just as important as opinions of billions of other adults on the planet. But one person, no matter who he is, cannot promote the project which only he himself likes and which most people are not satisfied with.
Why?
Because majority must vote for it.
Self-governance of society means that we, as community, decide by majority vote whether something will take place or not. Self-governance is not the absence of management or competent planning, but rather it's the absence of authority, although its function is equally shared among all people. Voting for a project becomes the right of every adult on the planet. And the advantage is that people themselves aspire to improve the living conditions in society. It becomes a crime to change something in people's lives without asking them. To exercise people's authority, we use such a tool as the electoral platform. It is essentially a website that allows people from all over the world to adopt decisions transparently and quickly. If a global issue is submitted for voting, people from all over the world must participate in voting. If an issue is local, then residents of a relevant territory whose lives are affected by adoption of this law must vote. For example, if there is a village issue, it is resolved in the village. If an issue is regional, it is resolved in the region. Thus, there is local self-government as well as global that applies to the whole world. Each law proposal is written in a language that is simple and understandable to people. Experts should prepare a draft law and explain what the expected results would be, the pros and cons of its implementation, what will change for an individual, and how the law will affect his life. Then the draft law is submitted for general voting.
A new global law proposal is up for a vote by humanity.
What is this?
Read out the draft law.
Global law proposal on introducing fuel-free power generators worldwide. An FFG is a device that enables you to generate electricity without the use of power plants or any other energy sources or generators that exist today.
Read me the pros.
Do you want it in brief or in detail?
Tell it in brief. Take into account my preferences.
In brief, an FFG will ensure everyone's energy independence. That means you will never have to pay utility bills again, and your favorite matcha tea will become cheaper. Just like all the other goods and services, because there will be no electricity charges. FFGs will also benefit the environment. Taking into account your hobbies and preferences, your biggest benefit from implementing FFGs will be that you won't have any need to fill up your car.
Okay, I vote.
You cannot vote before you listen to a detailed version of the law proposal with a description of all the pros and cons, as well as the expert opinion.
Okay, read it then.
Pros: energy independence.
Everyone should first familiarize themselves with the law proposal in full, and then make a decision to vote for or against it. A person votes directly, without intermediaries, because this decision will affect his life. A law is considered adopted if it is supported by the majority of people, 50% plus one vote.
That's interesting. The project is global. Pros. Okay, cons. Who is the initiator? A group of experts from power supply sector. They have a good rating.
Disadvantages of implementing FFGs. The energy sector will lose its relevance. All power plants, factories, mines, oil pipelines, and gas stations will be shut down. Specialists in above-mentioned industries will be dismissed. At the same time, they will be able to change their specialty. New vacancies will become available.
Let's see, what jobs are offered? Okay, engineer. FFG biotechnologist. Look at that. They offer retraining to be an aerospace systems engineer.
Come on. I worked there for 8 years. I started back in the consumerist format.
All processes will be transparent, and as a citizen of the world, you will be able to control any voting process, whether your vote was registered correctly or not. Moreover, it's important to understand that the electoral platform is easy to use, intuitive, and technically protected against any intrusion and forgery, thanks to a reliable and secure system of data collection and processing.
The global voting on the implementation of FFGs is now proceeding well.
The actual implementation of a law adopted by people will be handled by responsible administrators, in strict accordance with the law adopted and within the stipulated time frame. Through the electoral platform, in real time, people will be able to monitor implementations of the adopted law and recall administrators in case of any abuse. An important difference between the voting process in the consumerist format and the one in the Creative Society is that in the Creative Society, any information will be open and accessible. Information openness can in no way be used against an individual because human life will be the highest value.
Based on the results of the global vote, the world is transitioning to fuel-free generators. More than 2 billion families have already received FFGs, and soon it will be available to every inhabitant of the planet.
Everything is in order. Congratulations with your new FFG.
Thank you.
Planned closures of power plants, gas stations, and a control-safe transition to industrial FFGs are successfully underway. An FFG can be installed in any means of transportation.
Time has come for us to see. It's up to you.
Nova, how long have I been driving without refueling?
Today you have driven 405 miles without refueling or recharging. In total, your car has traveled 1,267 miles with the FFG. The next inspection of your car will be after 8,000 miles, and your FFG will be serviced in 9 years and 345 days.
Hi, Yoshka. Are you going fishing?
I'm going to work, man. I became a fishing instructor. My dream came true. It's fantastic. I go fishing every day, and my wife doesn't grumble at me because I go to work. It was my mistake to vote against that law back then. I now make more money than I did at the gas station. That's how it goes. And what about you?
I took that job. I'm going to be an aerospace engineer. I am now practicing and training.
Cool. Good luck to you.
Tight lines and bent rods.
The self-governance procedure is clear and understandable. It ensures order in decision-making and control over quick execution of decisions. Moreover, self-government eliminates any conditions for corruption. There will be no one who can be bribed because there will be no individual on whom decisions depend. Everyone will be equally able to participate in managing society's affairs. No one will have any privileges or immunity. People themselves will decide where to allocate their resources and will jointly control how they are being used. It will be very easy for any person to submit an initiative on their own on solving one or another vital issues. An initiative is verified for consistency with the 8 foundations of the Creative Society and submitted to the general public. If people support the idea, then experts get involved and prepare a draft law for voting.
Hi guys!
Hey.
So you will support me? I'm going to change the world. You said it's a long walk to the park and there are very few swings. What do you think about this park near our house?
Wow!
Or this one?
It's hard to choose.
Wow, when did you manage to retrain from an interior designer to an architect?
It's not me. I just put forward an idea, and last night local architects created these two projects by means of artificial intelligence. So now I will submit both of them on the platform and let people choose which one to vote for.
The main thing is to have more ice cream cafes in the park.
Well, then we need to vote for this one because it has fewer bike lanes and more cafes, while that one has more jogging and bike lanes and fewer cafes.
Mom, you built a beautiful park, but there are still few cafes and a poor selection of ice cream flavors.
Here is your ice cream lane, lady. You are so right. The selection is poor, but soon there will be more. We just opened yesterday. Enjoy. Thank you.
Delicious.
In today's consumer society, a single country or even an alliance of several countries will not be able to implement the concept of self-governance in full. Because there is such a concept as geopolitics, an endless war of interests, there is a competition and fight for resources, and national economies are interconnected to a large extent. Thus, people in a separate country cannot fully make independent decisions. Real self-governance is possible only in the creative format of society. And there is no analogue of this form of governance today. In the consumerist format, the law usually protects and benefits those who created it. But when people themselves create laws and vote for them, they work for the benefit of all people, not just a few. When people themselves generate projects and promote laws, there can be no wars, international strife, or conflicts in such a society. Because the most valuable thing for us people is life. And those incredible prospects which the creative society offers us.
We still have a lot of work to do. A path to happiness is always thorny. In our case, the path to the creative society. We'd have to say goodbye to some things, learn something, and get used to something. But there are more joyful moments in all of this. After the introduction of FFGs, even more opportunities opened up to us. Vertical farms all over the planet, a matter replicator, and even endless space are all a reality now. In the creative society, ordinary people are no longer pawns. Everyone becomes the most important because they are now humans. Since power is in the hands of people, that is, in our hands, everyone is more motivated to play an active role in the process of society. We have become even more united and responsible because now each of us changes the world for the better every day by our conscious choice. Creative Society, the beginning.
As you can see, self-governance is very simple. It is a completely transparent process that eliminates any possibility of manipulation. We as a community make decisions by majority vote. Whether to implement something or not, self-governance is not chaos, but rather intelligent management and planning. There is no authority. Instead, that function is distributed equally among all people. Voting for a particular project or law becomes the right of every adult on the planet. The advantages is that people themselves strive to improve the living conditions in society.
At present, it is impossible to fully implement the concept of self-governance as we have seen in one country or even a union of several countries due to the geopolitical struggles for resources and competition between national economies. People in a single country cannot make independent decisions, but in a creative format of society, real self-governance is possible. In such a society, people create laws and projects that work for the benefit of all people, not just for the benefit of a few. In such a society, there are no inter-ethnic disputes, conflicts, or wars, because the most valuable thing for us humans is life and the prospects that the creative society opens up for us.
The creative society is beneficial for everyone. Who wouldn't want to live in a safe, stable world where everyone is guaranteed free, quality healthcare and education, free housing of at least 650 square feet per person owned by the people themselves, and an unconditional basic income equivalent to $10,000 per month? But you know, a serious question arises. What do you spend that money on? Considering how many things will be free, where will you spend your unconditional basic income? While you think about it, let's see how people from around the world are answering this question.
Exclusively for the Global Crisis Forum There Is a Way Out, we've conducted social surveys across the entire world. The volunteers of Creative Society Project asked people about how they envision their lives in a creative society. So let's dive into the first question we asked people. Imagine living in a creative society where healthcare and education are free, and you have access to free housing without having to pay utility bills. All your debts are written off. You don't owe anything to anyone. You receive an unconditional basic income of $10,000 each month in present-day currency to your card. How would you spend that money? What would you do with it?
I'll definitely be able to start my passion projects, which are more for the community and bringing underrepresented communities, giving them more opportunities in society.
I would create some projects, entertainment shows, for example. I would invest in the talented guys and produce someone.
Yes, these would be inventions. That is something I've always enjoyed doing. Inventing, coming up with something. So take something and create. It would be for the whole world, so I could invent different things that could be useful to society.
Wow, that's a big question, and it's too important. For me, I would like to travel the world, the whole world. I would like to meet people from different nationalities, see the natural.
Most of my budget will be spent on recreation, singing, piano, etc.
Where am I going to spend $10,000? First of all, I will do everything I'm supposed to do in the household. And then I'll probably start making paper airplanes out of them and wait for them to disappear at all. It will be the happiest moment of my life to never think about them again.
I don't even know why the money is needed at all.
That's a good question.
Yes, the value and worth of money is completely different in such a society.
I want to go abroad a lot, to eat plenty of good food and to have a lot of fun.
If everyone has everything, then the money is kind of unnecessary.
I guess I could think more about, because right now I'm thinking, well, what about spaceships and going to the moon or new advanced technology?
I will take care of my family and I will try to join the creative society to help other people, and that is my dream.
If I had such money,
I would stop saving on those foods and fruits that contain the vitamins that I need. I would stop saving at least a little bit on gas. I have a gas meter. I would invite my friends to a cafe.
I would learn how to live. Because these days, with what we earn and the way we live, you are not living, you are surviving.
Imagine having an official work schedule of 4 days a week for 4 hours a day, and you earn a decent salary. In addition, you receive an unconditional basic income and free housing. Education is free and of excellent quality anywhere in the world. You can acquire any professional skill and join any team across the world to work on projects that benefit society as a whole, or just not to work at all. What would you do?
I would still work. I love my job. You know, I work in visual effects and it makes me happy. So I think I would still work, and, you know, whether that's paid a certain amount or not, I would still go in every day, or 4 days a week would be great.
I would love to work for huge organizations that will probably study some super global issues.
Well, you know, I'm an industrialist and a producer. I'm a creator. Maybe I would...
What?
I don't know. Maybe make some goods cheaper.
I think with the time that would be available, I would probably put more of my efforts and energy into volunteering.
No matter the amount of money, I would definitely still try to learn and develop as much as I possibly could.
I still need to keep my brain busy and contribute to society in some way, so I wouldn't just sit around. I think I'd get bored like super fast.
I'm gonna do a volunteer work and do a personal business as well.
I would love to enhance my skills related to acting and writing, and would want to contribute in that same field.
Even if I knew I could live without working, I would still want to keep exploring the human body, right?
My dream is to help other people, not just to help myself, but to help take other people to another level.
I would definitely get involved. All the best to the people. I would work for the people.
I think also it's the psychological thing to do something and to also to improve in this society, because I think also how it's possible this society to exist without our contribution.
I would join those like different projects to benefit society, because just sitting around you're not really doing anything, and there's a lot that could be done by joining those projects.
The creative society is a world where everyone has a financial security. It's an absolutely peaceful world, devoid of war, violence, and slavery. It's a world where you can enjoy all the benefits we've discussed earlier. Would you like to live in a creative society?
Would you like to live in such a society?
I would.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. I would. I think it would benefit my health overall, my mental health, and then my physical, in turn, my physical health.
Yes, of course I would like to. I would like to live in peace and tranquility.
Yes, of course, because it is at least comfortable for any person. It seems for everyone it is so.
Yes, sure. If there really is an unconditional basic income, that would be the optimal situation for the whole world. Firstly, to achieve peace, and secondly, to create a decent life for all people.
In our life, if there were no wars, slavery, corruption, it would be very beautiful. I really want to live in the creative world.
I would like to live in a creative society. I think it would be great. Certainly there wouldn't be any conflicts between people. Politics would not make sense then either, meaning one political group would not fight with another, country with country, because there would be no need for influence.
Of course, certainly. I'm sure, in fact, we're already creating, even just by the fact that we're already talking about it. I'm looking forward to such a society.
Yes, and I'll try to do everything I can to make it happen.
So who wouldn't want? I would definitely love to be a part of this society.
Yes, of course. I definitely hope to live in a relatively peaceful place without war.
I think we would all like to live in such an environment and protect our families, right?
I would love to live in such a society.
Yes, such a world is a dream, and I'd really like that.
Yes, I think I would like to live in the creative society.
I dream of a place called the Creative Society. Did not know that there was such a project. I am honored to even be a part, to just share my little capsule of how I think life could be. I want the emblem, any of that. No, sign me up. Queens on board. Absolutely.
Sure, 100%. Yeah.
100%. No need of doubt. Everybody looks for it.
Well, of course, I do not know what kind of a person, other than a psychopath, would not want to live in such a world.
Well, the answer is obvious. Of course I'd love to, and I challenge anyone who says otherwise.
Yes, I would like to live in such a society because it would mean that many of the inequalities that still exist today will disappear. It happens because of minorities' interests, who benefit and get richer because of the problems that are happening in the world.
Would you like to live in the Creative Society?
Of course I will love.
Naturally, it's probably a dream of every person. Everyone falls asleep and thinks, oh, if there was no war, it would be great. People would live in abundance and harmony, and everyone would smile at each other.
Yes, I would love to.
I'm with you.
I'm just saying. Come on. That's like the best dream any person would have. Yes, I would love to live.
Of course. Like, I think this will be answer of all people. Yeah, of course, I would like to.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Creative Society, it's amazing.
Amazing. What you have seen is only a small part of the responses from people around the world in recently conducted social surveys initiated by the participants of the Creative Society project in preparation for the forum, Global Crisis, There is a Way Out. This survey revealed some very important points. Firstly, absolutely everyone supports and, of course, wants to live in a creative society. Secondly, even with all the benefits, such as free, high-quality healthcare and education, no utility bills, debt forgiveness, no taxes, and a guaranteed universal basic monthly income of $10,000, most people plan to improve their lives and the world around them even further. This is because everyone wants to live in a life worthy of a human. And the Creative Society is precisely the format that creates conditions for such a life. This once again proves that the creative format of society is the format which will restore our sense of humanity and will promote the development of the inner potential of every person, because the conditions in the society will be completely different.
Yes, Helena, absolutely. And this shows how much on the same page we are. And have you ever thought about how in today's consumer society, people's minds are consumed basically with thoughts like paying off debts, paying off the loan, how to find money to feed the children, or how to even afford medical treatment. Basically, how to make ends meet. And wouldn't it be better to actually think about pleasant things like what kind of education would you get if money wasn't an issue, or how would you spend your 10K a month on conditional basic income? Now, that's a great thought, right? Write in the comments below, how would you spend those money, and share your ideas, folks. We would love to hear from you.
Yes, of course, everyone wants a guaranteed unconditional basic income of $10,000, free high-quality health care and education, no utility bills, loan forgiveness, and no taxes. And all of this will be available during the period of transition to the Creative Society. But fair questions arise. Where will the money come from to provide all these benefits, especially to every person? Will the unconditional basic income payments lead to an increase in prices and inflation? Why do we say that all these benefits will be guaranteed in the Creative Society? What can guarantee this to us? Who will pay for it? Answers to these questions will now be shown in the presentation of a new economic model prepared by an international team of economists specifically for this forum.